And welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by the Topoco Lodge. Their rooms are now available on the weekends. Right now, you can get in there and stay in the weekends at the Topoco Lodge, right in the historic lodge part of it. And then they've got their grand opening coming up on March 13th. So we're right around the corner from their grand opening. That's 7 days a week for the rest of the year, where you've got the Topoco Tavern open, where you've got their cabins open. You've got everything going. But even right now, if you're looking for a place to go and stay that's just a very special, especially romantic kind of a getaway, the Topoco Lodge, just outstanding. Visit topoco.com to learn more. And certainly, if you are looking at an event that you're wanting to hold somewhere off campus for business or family, reunion, heck, they even do weddings on occasion, the Topoco Lodge. Check them out, topoco.com. All right, Mark mentioned this last week off air, so I wanted to get to it here, and that is cheating worth it? And I brought Will back since he was a big recruit. He demanded money from UT, Ole Miss. And, that's a joke, as far as you know. But I do want to ask, as somebody you were on the staff that got Bruce Pearl in trouble, or that Bruce Pearl got in trouble with. It was your barbecue. But thoughts on, is cheating worth it? You asked that last week because, and your point was, Calipari is viewed as the dark evil one of all coaches, and the NCAA can't get him. He's still coaching. Will Wade, they catch him on tape. He's still coaching. Bruce Pearl has been banished. He had to walk in the wilderness at Southern Indiana for 10 years due to one issue. He gets a couple more issues, gets banished for 3 years. He's back. So the point being, I'm making your point, but your point seems to be, why not do it? So give me your answer.
Well, it's not only they're back, but they're winning. And it's not accusations. It's banners have been taken down with Calipari. Yeah. And then you go look at Maryland. They're winning the Big Ten. Mark Turgeon has had NCAA run-ins. Kevin Willard, Seton Hall, they're winning their conference. He was suspended the first 2 games for tampering with transfers. You have Sean Miller at Arizona, their most successful program arguably within the Pac-12. You have Baylor and Scott Drew, who's been with the Pac-12, and he's had NCAA issues. So you go up and down, and the teams that are consistently winning their leagues are led by coaches who have consistently been not just accused, they've actually been found guilty of cheating.
Kansas.
And Kansas and Kansas himself. And so, other than it being morally wrong and you shouldn't do it because it's against the law, but they're with baseballs and with the Astros. I mean, if they're not going to come down on it and say, like, if I don't tell my kids and put them into a serious punishment to do something, they're going to continue to do it. They're going to laugh in my face. And so, as a coach, if I'm on wiretap paying a kid and nothing happens to me, then why wouldn't I do it again? Why wouldn't I try to win when my contract's going to get me $5-6 million bucks?
Will, other side as a player, is it worth it? For a program to cheat?
Well, I have to look at it from just the coach's standpoint. Just to go back to that, monetarily, you take money off the table for you and your family if you're not cheating. That's the straight up, straight down, is that you're losing money by not cheating, because you're looking at this world and you're seeing it's all being done. And, there's a big secret here that the NCAA, as long as you don't cheat too bad and make it overt, we have to come in, everybody's cheating. And it's a known fact. The NCAA is not hiding, how does somebody move from Hawaii, their whole family, they don't have any working relationships, all of a sudden they set up life in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and they're okay. And they have jobs and they work, and it's just a fast transition.
It's also happened in Knoxville, by the way, but go ahead.
But I'm just saying, I'm pointing out, I'm obviously going to point them out first, right? But I'm just saying that this happens, and there's this known thing, and it's like, okay, well, that's not too bad, so we're going to look over here, we're going to look over here. So eventually you do come to that point of, well, they don't enforce this, they don't enforce this, they don't enforce this. So if I'm not doing this, why, and they're not enforcing it, it's a rule on paper, but it's not actually the rule. The rule is don't get caught. The rule is don't flaunt it. But it's not don't cheat.
Kevin O'Neill, when he arrived here, I did this is a long time ago, did a 24 hours in the life of Kevin O'Neill. We mic'd him up for a ball game, practiced an entire game. there was nothing left at the time I had to edit everything out. But I asked him because he had been quoted in the book Raw Recruits, which was about basketball cheating. This came out in the late 80s. I had found this, and I asked him, your comment here makes it sound like you're willing to bend a few rules. He said, look, everybody breaks rules. Not everybody cheats. Which gets to what he sees a difference between breaking rules, it happens, and cheating. And I guess the question is, where does the NCAA draw that line? Do you guys think it's worth it?
As a Houston Astros fan who celebrated the 2017 World Series, not yes, but hell yes. But other than the moral side of it also, it's kind of like what Will said. Look, every year, Tennessee comes out and they say, we committed 6, 12, 18 secondary violations, but none of them rose to the level of where you would need to be punished. So I'm not a big fan of just outright paying players and cheating and bringing in people and giving them jobs and that type thing. But the financial issue that you have with coaches and with your program, not just the coaches, but your program is benefiting too, unfortunately, it does seem to be paying off.
Yeah, I think it's naive to think that it's not pretty widespread.
Pervasive?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I also, Pearl got it at the wrong time because it was after the Penn State thing blew up in the NCAA's face where they overreached there and then they were thinking they were going to get sued into the next lifetime. So they started pulling back. Then they got caught really trying to set up Miami. Remember that big scandal?
Yeah.
They looked, all of a sudden they lost their teeth. And Pearl lied to the NCAA, which at the time was an automatic show cause. And show cause meant you're done. Then after Miami and Penn State, it was like, so-and-so lied. It was Frank Haith lied. And the NCAA kind of let it go. And then everyone started saying, oh, well, hey, it's free for all. It'll be interesting to see if the NCAA ever can sort of reel it back in. Now, it's always been sketchy. You've always had some coaches that got away with it. But the NCAA lost some teeth after the Miami and Penn State stuff, I think. As someone who was part of that, what do you look at when you look at the NCAA? As somebody who's seen, are you someone who believes in the idea of the NCAA, or do you say, tear it down and start anew?
The idea sounds great, but I think you're at a point now where you're going to have to share some of this revenue, but that's not going to stop cheating. I think you're going to end up paying players, and it's just going to be, there's still going to be some schools that are paying more and some schools that aren't paying as much, and there's no simple solution other than NCAA going away.
Okay. Very good. Mike Strange, Mark Pancratz, thanks again. We'll see you next week. I always appreciate it. Will, Jimmy, sit right there. We're going to bring Bob and Chuck back. We got a lot more football to discuss, and we're going to talk about the SEC coaching roster. We've got Philip Fulmer on the way. A lot of stuff to talk about. Come on back.
Hey, when you're away from home, catch us on Facebook Live, our YouTube channel, or on SportsSource.tv.
Let's do it.
This is the Sports Source.